welcome back to the show. So let's just quickly get into it, man. This week has been really impressive. If you guys remember, a few weeks ago, we talked about Rees Zammit, the former Welsh Rugby star and up-and-coming star for the Wales national team, who decided to forego his time with Wales this past year, as well as with his professional team, and head across the pond to the U.S. to try out for his NFL dreams, utilizing the international player pathway. Well, it looked like he had some great results as a result from it, because not only did he have an impressive pro day where he ran a 4.44 40 meter at the NFL Pro Day, it also looks like he got some additional looks from that as well too. So first off, let's take a look at how he did from his pro day, because I think that one was actually probably was what really set up the leverage for him on his ability to be of some interest. And for those who don't know, I don't know how many people are come out of the US, but a 4.4440 is definitely is a top 10% speed range within the NFL, especially as a wide receiver running back. And let's just put it out, because it's going to end up showing up on this video. The man looks like he's got a team now. So since you guys, the sound isn't coming out, looks like Rees Zammit is getting signed by the Kansas City Chiefs, the current Super Bowl champs, last year's Super Bowl champs, and the favorite for Super Bowl champs going into this next year. Why is the sound not coming out? So off of it, great pro day that this guy was able to have with everything. Now, in addition to his being able to get signed with the Chiefs, he also has picked up a new agency in Rock Nation. Now, if you guys don't know Rock Nation, this is what former label and now media entity that was created by Jay-Z, very famously known for working with a ton of artists and a ton of sports players. But within rugby, they work with Ellis. They work with Ellis Ganji. They work with Tayumba, the Beast, out of South Africa. And now they've brought another rugby person underneath their belt in Rees Zammit, who is looking to be able to make some whiffs with the Kansas City Chiefs this year. Now, I will say that I didn't really have the highest hopes for him. Again, I think his chances of making a roster are still very, very small. But again, you did enough to be able to get yourself to training camp, and that's a big deal. In it alone, the payment for him, if he gets out of training camp, especially at a 53-man roster, is going to be more than what he probably would make in like 3 years, 4 years as a Welsh rugby player or as a pro player at top 4, maybe not top 14, probably maybe right on par, but definitely not doing it in Cardiff or Dragons or wherever the heck pro team that he was essentially playing with at the time. Now, kind of putting some of this also into context, he's gotten signed to be able to get a chance at training camp. He's looking to be able to be as a running back or a wide receiver, and they're going to try and train him within that. Man is 6'3", measured out at 6'3", running a 4.40, and I don't know what his bench presses were, but I mean, it seems like he's probably fairly strong. Seems like he's fairly strong. So he's got a lot of opportunities, and he's also young. He's 23. Obviously, he doesn't have the draft whiff, so he's UDFA, undrafted free agent. But a lot of people are already trying to downplay it. And I will say that people think that he might not make it because he's not going to be able to understand the nuances of running back and wide receiver, which I think are factually true. But I do think that he has the ability to win, to be able to win a roster spot through special teams, and especially if that speed, and especially coming off of the wings, especially on punt return and kick return, and even now the rules for kick returns are completely different, where it's a shorter field. There's a shorter field where the players start off from, and the returners are coming from further back. His speed coming off the edge has even more value asset to it. So I think he could really make it, even if he doesn't do well as a wide receiver, which I think would be the most natural position, because unless you're Derrick Henry, being 6'3" and a running back is not going to be great for your body. And if you're not used to getting low, and as rugby players, you play up, so you see over the field and you have positioning to pass, his natural position would have to be wide receiver. But of course, he's got to work on blocking. He's got to work on his routes. He's got to make sure his footwork is good. There's a lot to be able to go, and that's a lot to do for training camp. But as a either scout team, which practice team he could make and still make a bunch more money than he would playing rugby, but really as a special team specialist coming off the edge, I think he absolutely has a chance, which is way higher than I think people give it credit for. And the Chiefs, even last year, despite winning a Super Bowl, have not been really that great on their special teams. They had a lot of flubs. So this is one of those situations where there is really a gap opening that's available. And the Chiefs always love young players that can have rise up. So I don't know if it's going to get like Manuona. I think, what's his name? Manuona, what's his name? Eagles Rugby League. Mailata. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be as prolific as Mailata, but again, if you can get on that 53-man roster, means number one, your contract is guaranteed, whether you get cut mid-season or at the beginning, as long as you make it into week one. And number two, that sets you up that other teams are going to have a greater look at you, and they're going to try and see if they can sign you up. And that's not necessarily as a practice team member. And number three, even if he does go as a practice team person, and he can get up to a roster, since those spots can go to both veterans and newbies, like, he's got a lot to be able to train on. So I think people are being a little too rushy on wanting to sideswipe Rees Zammit's opportunities to the side. Definitely worth the checkout. But congratulations to him. You know, I'm now on the board with him doing it, because, you know, I of course I've been against it because of the fact that I don't like the idea of rugby having a talent drain going to the NFL, even though I love the NFL. But I don't like the talent drain, and I wish that we could make the stars better so they didn't feel like they could only make the most amount of monies from that. But, you know, it is what it is. So shout out to him. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. Let me know where you guys are feeling with it. And I definitely want to know where you guys go with this. All right, man. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit about the Africa Games. Like, yo, what happened? The rugby being presented for the first time. Obviously, we had Steve Lewis with Nigeria, but Nigeria didn't really get the results that it wants. We're going to break down some of that, as well as some of the games, and why I said watch out for that continent. They're coming up. We're going to be right back after these commercials. Stay tuned. Don't you love a great ketogenic family? My name is Gifte Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Food. I wanted to talk to you about one of our top baking mixes, and that is our ketogenic baking mixes. We got a ketogenic seed baking mix, our ketogenic almond baking mix, and of course, our ketogenic coconut baking mix. Now, what is so important about it being ketogenic? Now, for those who don't know, ketogenic means that it is utilizing low carbs to be able to eat from.
The point of it is so that your body will naturally activate burning from your fat and be able to sustain off your proteins rather than feeding your body carbohydrates and your body simply burning that and you just don't lose weight. And so whenever you're doing that process, it's incredibly difficult. And of course, you're always going to have a craving for wanting to eat the breads and the carbs that you typically would have. With our keto baking mixes, you can have the pancakes, the waffles, the cookies, the cakes, the pizza crust that you absolutely desire without sacrificing the work, your diet, and obviously the results that you are trying to get. All our ketogenic baking mixes are gluten-free, grain-free, plant-based, and absolutely loaded with natural vitamins and minerals. We want to make sure that they are low net carb, they have no added sugar, they are protein rich, they have good healthy fats, but even more importantly, they have a low glycemic level. So for those who are diabetic and you're also still trying to find something, we have the baking mixes that are for you. And I'm sure you're wondering, why make 3 versions of them if they all are basically doing the same thing? Well, we wanted to make sure, as always, that we are trying to specialize to your dietary need. So with our ketogenic coconut, we wanted to give you a version that allows you to have a sweeter breads without sacrificing your diet. But it provides you things that you can make with your cakes, you can make your cookies, but you can be able to not have to lose your mind trying to find things that can satiate the taste without ruining your diet. With our ketogenic almond baking mix, that is one that has probably the highest protein content. It allows you to be able to control your blood sugar levels, reduce your blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and of course, it goes to promoting weight loss and being able to control the hunger. And for our ketogenic seed, this is for those who have a nut allergy and they can't take anything like the almonds. So we want to give them still the same thing. You can still make your bread. You can still make your pizza crust. You can still make your cakes and your buns and your muffins, but you don't have to worry about having an allergic reaction. You definitely can go check out the ketogenic line of products at healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead, keep up with your diet, get the foods that are necessary to keep you going, and let's get the results that you absolutely deserve. Let's go.